So the comic I want us to look at today is Chew from Image Comics. Can't remember the name of the author, but hopefully I remember before the end of this episode. Anyways, it's set in a world that follows this character that has the ability to experience the last 12 to 24 hours of anything he eats. Which sounds maybe interesting until you realize that if he eats a hamburger, for example, he's going straight to the slaughterhouse because his mind is going to get transported to the cow that's going to be brought into the slaughterhouse, and it's a pretty horrific experience. Now, you might be thinking, oh my god, this comic is clearly vegan propaganda. But he gets the same thing with plants as well. If he eats an apple, then his mind gets transported to the body of the apple before it was picked. And apparently in this world, plants can also feel pain. So, unfortunately, the only thing in this world that appears not to be sentient are beets. And so this guy is a policeman. He can only eat beets, and already you feel for the guy because I think we all love our food. And imagine how miserable it would be if you could only eat beets. And so already you create a really really relatable character. So this is the opening, and the world is quite bizarre and somewhat funny. It's a bit cruel to see a situation, but it's also hilarious. So they've created this really really interesting promise with the opening, and they deliver upon it in the first issue because they take this concept and push it one step further because he's a policeman, he's trying to solve a crime, he knows the suspect did it, but he can't prove it. So he decides to chew into the suspect to get that psychic imprint of the last 12 to 24 hours of his life. Then he sees where the suspect has hidden all of the evidence and is able to successfully bring him to jail. Problem is you can't go around biting people. So unfortunately, his superintendent comes and says, "Listen, like I've got to take you out of the force." But what actually happens is he gets taken to a secret division where there are other people like him who have the ability to chew, and so that is just so fascinating. I think this is one of the best first issues I've ever read because A, it delivers upon the promises made from the opening. B, it creates a very relatable character. C, it piques your interest. You're like, what? Like a procedural crime thriller with psychic policemen that have to chew their victims, I suppose, or chew their suspects. I mean, how are they going to get away with this? Three key ingredients that I think make a fantastic opening, and Chew executes all of them really, really well.
It actually sounds like something that I would read. I'm gonna pick it up straight after this recording, and because I also write comic books, like I'm always, oh, specifically I write sci-fi and fantasy comic books. Even more specific than that, I write superhero stories. And what I like to do is I'd like to map out someone's power. So, like from what you've told me, all I can like, if I had this sort of character, the way I'd describe him is it's digestive post-cognition psychometry. Obviously, you can sum that up in how you describe the ability working. But in the Razorman universe, the way they classify super beings and their powers is it's all very clinical, and I'm just loving the story so far. I haven't actually seen anything of it, and you've made me want to read it. It's so good that someone else can sell it to you. That's how good your chapter ones should be. That the viewers are like, yo, bro, you need to read this real quick. It's like, who are you again? Joe from class 3. Come on, read you. Come on, read you. I'm ready.
He's ready. But on a more serious note, let's switch gears and now look at an example of manga. And I wanted to look at My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia, because it really is a fantastic example to look at when we're examining this dynamic between a 30-page first issue or a 28-page first issue and a 60-page first issue. Because for me, Boku no Hero Academia first issue is 60 pages, like I alluded to with most mangas. But if you take the first 30 pages, what you have is a distinctly average story. And it's only that extra 30 pages from page 31 to 60. I mean, there's a lot of stuff sort of foreshadowed in the earlier pages. But it's only when you read it as a whole that the whole thing sort of shines and starts to make sense. But the first half of the first issue, for me, is distinct.